Three, two, one. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Yet Another Expat. I think this is episode number 13. It's the cursed episode, and I should have probably renamed this podcast to Good Enough because this is what I feel I'm fighting every time when I'm releasing an episode. The sound is worse than ever because this is a very drafty recorded episode. The truth is, with Easter and everything, it has been tough to find the time. But you know what? I said, let's just do it. Go for it. I don't have any bullets for this episode. This is, bulletproof. I wish it was, as Radiohead might say. And I hope you didn't think I died from the snake I fought the last time. The only thing that can take me down, as you can hear, is probably my allergies, which are still going strong. I am losing this battle, I admit it. But yes, I'm in a room with a huge echo. I hope AI and technology does its miracles, but I do not have the time to do all the beautiful editing I do for your lovely ears usually. So apologies for the sound. And yeah, I decided I either do not do an episode or I do this. And in life, sometimes you have to settle with mediocrity. So let's get going. On news I want to share for these past 2 weeks. First of all, the big Greek Easter. Yes, it happened. We made it. We did it. There were about 30 people here coming both from Germany and Greece, and it was a beautiful ensemble. Yes, we did have a full lamp, a 16-kilo lamp, which is a big one. And we did remove the head to smoothen it out a little bit. For those who don't know, in Greek Easter, there is a whole lamb being beautifully roasted on top of coals. And this was thanks to the grill master, one of my cousins who agreed to take that role. There was a lot of dancing and drinking and even smashing some plates. Thank you, brother. But for me, it was mostly running around for me and my partner, making sure that everything is in place in time. The salads, the foods, the drinks, the waters, the ice, the chairs. So I think my lesson for next time is let's just make a few Greek salads and throw the meat in the roaster and call it a day. There was also, of course, a grill for our little vegetarian friends, featuring corn and zucchini and other inferior types of food. One thing I noticed, and I apologize, is that Greeks have so many types of dancing. There are these traditional songs where you can dance around, but the truth is, there are multiple different styles from Kalamatiano to Sirto to Chamiko and Aptaliko and all sorts of different dances. And it takes some time to learn them. Of course, if you ever find yourselves in a Greek dancing place, the easiest way to learn is to just join a circle, grab the two hands, left and right, and try to find your rhythm. The only dance where you are not actually supposed to interrupt is the Greek zeipetiko, which is a slow dance, one person dancing, everyone else is clapping. If you see someone doing spins and rounds while everyone is kneeling, clapping their hands, know that this is not a dance to invite yourselves in. You can be a clapper, which is a very honorable position. Perhaps you get some figure, dancing figure happening in front of you, and things like that. Now, being around with older people, I realized something that is probably coming soon for me as well. Well, not very soon, but you know how older people start needing glasses for their eyesight, which also basically means that anytime you want to show something to an older person, they need to decide whether this is worth putting their glasses on or not, which puts you it put me personally in a weird spot having to say, hey, have a look at this or look at this photo. And then I see the inner mechanisms of the person working, thinking, okay, let's see what's happening here, and reaching over for their glasses, trying to find it in their purse, taking some time, and me thinking, holy shit, was this worth it? Was this worth you putting on your glasses? Are your expectations? The expectations get set to a minimum that is not the minimum we have when we are younger. It gets the expectations of what we are showing them gets raised to the minimum of I need to make work to see this, so it better be worth it. So yes, if you want to show something to older people, just know the stakes are a little bit higher because they need to go through the effort of putting on their glasses. These are very important thoughts, as you can understand, that I have been having with my beautiful mind. And speaking of my beautiful mind, it just got an upgrade because finally I decided to get a hearing aid. And this is because one of my two ears is almost deaf. Not yet deaf, but probably will get there at some point. It started when I remember in school, I couldn't hear when they were whispering to me in the class. And I never paid a lot of attention until I got to 18. I noticed that my hearing is going downwards, much like the stock price of Boeing. I didn't have any whistleblowers, or if I did, I couldn't hear them because of the hearing. Great jokes, but long story short, the degrading of my hearing continued for years over years. And then I did all of the tests to see if I'm dying, because apparently, if you're losing hearing from one side, you need to go to a doctor. And after I got that sorted out, that I have a non threatening hearing degradation of one side, I decided after many years to get me back in normal hearing levels. Now, if you're wondering how is life with being almost deaf from one ear, I have to say it's much quieter. Now that I can hear everything, I feel the world is quite noisy. I guess I always had a silencer on one side of mine, and I could decide to position myself with my silencer or with my incredibly good other ear, which is compensating strongly. The downsides would be that I would get a bit tired on social interactions outside bars or restaurants where people are chatting, there's music, there are multiple sounds. That could get a bit tiring for my poor left ear who's compensating everything. Yes, now I have a hearing aid. If you don't know, basically, many types of hearing aids. I have one that is all the way inside my ear, so it's quite discreet. And how they work is that they take all of the incoming sounds and they change the frequencies that you cannot hear into frequencies you can hear. So it's like a butcher. They get all of the sound, they split it into multiple small pieces, and then they choose the pieces that correspond to frequencies you cannot hear and translate them into frequencies you can hear. So really nice technology. I think it's a little bit close to having, noise canceling headphones. What they do is that they get the incoming sound and then they analyze it and create a counter sound to block the things you don't want to hear. Well, if you're interested, the border between hearing aids and earbuds, I think, is getting thinner and thinner. And in the future, earbuds will be able to also boost hearing and do some of this frequency analysis I just described. For me, it means that now you cannot talk behind my back. I can definitely hear it. I don't know if I can, raise the volume and be able to hear even further than I should. But now I have this improved version. My nose might be clogged, but my ears are clearer than ever. I will keep bringing you updates about this new improved version of myself, being able to process more of the world. But for now, let's get this party not started, probably close to finishing with a few last thoughts and some headlines. On last thoughts, big groups. Big groups are quite a thing. I don't know when was the last time you were part of a big group and what your role was in it, but oh my, Having so many people over for Easter definitely changed my perception around big groups because I thought we're just going to be a big, joyful ensemble that can harmonically find our way left and right, that it doesn't need a lot of thinking or talking. That you know how the birds are flying in a coordinated way and they are doing all of these moves harmonically, they're changing who is leading. Yeah, by the way, if you don't know these birds that are traveling in a V shape, it turns out that the leader is changing. It's not always one person leading the pack. Interesting. Find a way to use it in a conversation. But I thought that big groups, yes, will be seemingly finding their way like a big flock of fish and blah, blah, blah. Well, it is not. Big groups are tough. And especially if you are managing these big groups like a host, I have to say that managing everyone's feelings was almost harder than work. I do a lot of stakeholder management in my work, and let me tell you, this was definitely a similar situation, especially when you have kids as well. There were quite a few kids, and you can never make it right. You can never make the right decision for everyone. Someone wants to walk more, someone wants to walk less, someone wants to see more, someone wants to see less. You will always have dissatisfied people, and that is something difficult to accept. This is what I found, and if you also have high EQ or any EQ, and you can basically feel what others are feeling a bit more lively or vividly inside of you, then you're in for a ride because there will always be someone who is not having a good time, and making it work for the entire group is almost impossible. This is the point you need to internalize and understand and move on with it. This is what I did. I felt like a chief of staff for a company that doesn't have an executive. I was the executive and the chief of staff as well. We had a board of directors with the parents and perhaps one of the older kids, and we were taking some votes, and there were a bit of disagreements on the strategy that we should follow for the next quarter in our journey. Some wanted to have short-term gains and boost the morale of our little company, while others wanted to maximize for long-term returns and investments of future memories and photos. But we did make it work. And yes, big part of big groups was much more work than I imagined. Now, let's get a few headlines and wrap it up. Headline number one: there has been evidence of an orangutan using medicinal herbs to treat a wound on his face. And this is a big thing. So, yes, researchers have observed the male Sumatran orangutan, Rakus. He even has a name, this orangutan, Hyrakus. His name is not Hyrakus, his name is Rakus. They observed him using medicinal herbs to treat a facial wound, which is suggesting that orangutans possess advanced cognitive abilities. Who would have thought? I mean, orangutans are keeping a cleaner beard than I am in their face. So I never doubted their high cognitive abilities. And what Rakus did, he chewed some leaves of a plant that's known for its medicinal properties, and then he applied that juice directly to the wound, which subsequently healed. And this is important. Why? The usage of tools, the usage of things of the environment to bring prosperity and solve problems is a high sign of intelligence. We talked about crows and how they're using sticks and rocks and other stuff. But yes, this marks the first documented instance of a wild animal using a plant with known medicinal properties to treat an open wound. Gives insights to the origins of human wound care, possibly dating back to a common ancestor shared with these primates. Good job, Rakush, and hope your wound is healed. The wound is healed. I can see it on this post. Second headline: the disinfectants are not as innocent as we thought, and they can have ingredients that may affect the brain. Now, this is something that my girlfriend probably will say she wins because during the pandemic, I was spraying and cleaning every single thing while she wanted to keep a few germs around for diversity and inclusion purposes. But apparently, coming from Washington Post, it is the widespread use of disinfectants and heavy-duty cleaners has started a new research on quats. Quats are called the quaternary ammonium compounds, and they are a class of chemicals that is used in some household cleaners that kill viruses, bacteria, and other germs by breaking down cell membranes. Well, apparently, 2023 there was a review with more than 2 dozen researchers who called quats a chemical class of emerging concern. Why? Because the exposure to quats has been associated with asthma and an increased risk of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease in humans, as well as a decreased fertility in mice. Sorry, mice, maybe we see less of you, but now scientists have raised a new concern. They have found that quats, these ammonium compounds, can be potentially toxic to a type of brain cell. This cell is called an oligodendrocyte, and I can only say this because I'm Greek, and it provides the fatty insulation that's called myelin around our nerves, which allows the neural signal to travel through the brain faster. And now what happens is that these quats, often ending with ammonium chloride in their name or onium chloride. It can be hand soaps. In hand soaps, it can be the benzalkonium chloride. You can use Google, and it can help you figure out whether a particular ingredient is in a cleaning product is a quat or not. And the research does not mean we should stop using disinfectants in our homes, but it's good to be aware that these chemicals in our household cleaners may have consequences. It could potentially be toxic to one type of brain cell. Now, what does it exactly do with the toxicity? I'm not sure I understand, but listen to me. My nose is clogged. I have allergies. Should I start blaming all the disinfectants I use? That would be a relief. It's nice to have someone to blame. This is what I've learned. But long story short, if your cleaners end with onium chloride, whatever, just be aware to not maybe use way too much of it, or I don't know. You can do your own research, but common household disinfectants may affect our brain. Two more headlines for our last one. There have been viral TikToks. I would know if I wasn't this old, but I only get my information for Instagram Reels. If you don't know, Instagram Reels are what comes after TikTok has done its party, and my mother watches YouTube Shorts, which is what's left when I'm done with the party. But yes, there is a new viral TikTok that says that you shouldn't rinse when you brush your teeth. Rinsing is, drinking a lot of water and going all that. And let me tell you, I knew this before. It is true. You should not rinse. I know it's counterintuitive and everyone rinses, but the concept of toothpaste, especially the ones containing fluoride, is that they create a protective layer on our teeth. And if you rinse right after, this doesn't happen. You don't get your protective layer. So you should brush, spit out whatever, but then don't rinse about 20 minutes to allow the fluoride to stay on your teeth, providing an added layer of protection against cavities and whatnot. Now, I know a lot are not even using fluoride containing toothpaste because of other links to potential toxicity, but you know what? I'm not there yet. I like fluoride when I brush my teeth, and I'm trying to protect my brain all day as much as I can. Just learn I need to not use chloride. Next up, no fluoride on the toothpaste. What is coming next? We can never catch a break. This has been it. I cannot catch a break for sure. I'm out to start the rest of the day mostly with cleaning. I will try not to clean with chloride onions, and hopefully I don't meet any huge snakes on my way. As difficult as it is to satisfy big groups, they also offer array of emotions and experiences together. And as hard as it is to keep the group satisfied, I think it's equally hard to keep ourselves satisfied anyways. So why not go for it? This podcast didn't make a lot of sense, but it comes with a lot of love and a little editing. Thanks for your messages and keep listening. Have a good one.